Welcome to the Content Amplified podcast, brought to you by Masset. Our goal is to help you get more from your marketing content. Each episode is a 10 to 15 minute interview with industry experts that share amazing insights to help you squeeze as much juice from your content as you possibly can. Here's today's interview.
All right, welcome back to the Content Amplified podcast. Another great episode today. Wanted to introduce our guest today, Nathan. Nathan, I'll let you introduce yourself for a couple seconds.
Sure. Thanks, Ben. Good to be here. My name is Nathan Collier. I'm an old journalist who became a content marketer 15 years ago and have been doing it ever since. So I am the director of content marketing at a legal tech startup called Pursuit, where I kind of just run all of the content efforts, everything from, webinars, newsletter, podcast, all the different content plays that we've developed over the years. So we sell into enterprise accounts. It's a fascinating and fun challenge, and I love doing the work. I also run a community called the Content Marketing Lounge. You can, I'll tell you how to find that later, but it started as a Facebook group back in 2015. We're 8,000 members strong now. So cool place where I get to hang out and chat with a bunch of smart marketing people all the time. So that's me.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show. We'll definitely link out to some of that stuff here in the show notes as well. But we've got a fun subject for this. And this is like the epitome of what we're hoping for in this podcast. This story and this like specific strategy can literally change how you do something in your content marketing today. Like legitimately, this is a strategy I'm using today because it's so good. So the whole concept here is how to get more of your customers to say yes to doing case studies with you.
Yep.
And Nathan has this nailed down to a T. So Nathan, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do we get more customers to say yes to doing case studies with us?
Sure. Well, let me take you back. Okay. We'll go back to 2008 when I got my first marketing job. I had no idea what I was doing as a marketer back then. I had come out of the world of journalism and found my way into the marketing department, and it was a big company, like 5,000 people. We had 50 people in the marketing group, and there was one person in that group who became a pretty close colleague of mine, and her whole job, she had been directed by the VP of marketing, go get case studies, right? Go get case studies, and she had just a miserable experience trying to get case studies from customers. She got shot down all day, every day by customers. They would ignore her. They would tell her not now, which means no. It was a very painful experience for her. And like sort of separately, I'd been like tasked with building a new sort of email program and that meant sort of putting together some new blog content. And, back 2008, 2009, 2010, that was still relatively new for like B2B software companies to be doing content of that type. So there wasn't the established playbooks that we have today. And so, I was like, well, I'm a journalist. I can go talk to people and create content from that. Why don't I just go do that? And so we started to sort of play around with that. And it was funny, like I talked to my colleagues and she said, well, I got this list of people that have already turned me down. Like you could just reach out to that group. And she gave me the list and I just started I reached out to some people from that list and I just said, hey, I work in marketing. We're starting this new series. Like, I'd love to feature you on the blog. Like, would you be open to being featured on the blog? And like all the same people that shot her down for a case study, they said yes to me, like immediately, right? Because it's just a different ask, right? And what we figured out was that they were generally happy to sort of tell their story, and our product was a part of their story. It just was like it was, but by asking that way, rather than saying, when you go to a customer and you say, hey, would you be like, can we do a case study? Would you be a testimonial? Would you be a reference? Like, there's not much in it for them. Like, you're kind of just asking them to do you a favor. And some of them will, but many of them won't, right? Yeah. Even if they like you, even if they like your product, like it's just, it's just not like, why would I want to be the face on your homepage talking about how great you are, right? Like it's just tough to get somebody to say yes to that. And so when you flip it around and say, hey, could I feature you? Like, can I give you a platform to tell your story about how you solve this problem? People, like, they just respond way better to that. I used to do that back when I was a journalist, and like I never got told no. People are like, "You're from the newspaper? You want to talk to me?" Yeah, like, and they would love to be profiled in the paper. I had times where I would profile somebody in the paper, and they would come in the next day and they would buy like 10 copies and send those copies like to their friends who lived all over the country. And like, in this environment, when I moved to marketing, it's not like I didn't get 100% of the people to say yes, right? It wasn't like, they still know I'm in marketing. They still know I have an agenda. Some people just have policies that like their company won't let them do that. But my success rate was, at that time, my success rate was right in the 50% range, which compared to what my colleague was getting, she was like getting turned down 90% of the time. And so that's when I sort of learned that lesson. But what was fascinating was, as we started to talk to those customers, it was fascinating to me how many of those customers that once we started to work on the profile story for them, they eventually said yes to a case study.
Yep.
Like a proper traditional case study. And all it did was it sort of broke down that initial resistance, and it allowed us to sort of give them a platform and give them something that everybody wants, which is to just have a platform to say something cool or to tell their story. And from that, we were able to build a relationship that then opened up opportunities to ask for that traditional case study. And so I've been running that playbook for 15 years. I've done hundreds of those over the years. And there have been many times where I've even gotten like a 2-for-1, right? Where I'll get on a call with somebody. I'll say, hey, can we feature you in some content? Can we feature you in the blog? Can we feature you on the podcast? I'll do the interview. And in the middle of the interview, I'm just talking to them and I'm sort of learning their story. And I'll just ask them, like, your story is so good. Like, could we write like a case study so that other people can sort of see how you solve this problem? And they don't all say yes, but many of them have said yes. And so in those situations, I'll be able to take that interview and I'll write a feature story on the blog. That's like where they're the hero of the story, right? And I even started calling those hero case studies because I made them the hero, right? It's like a top of the funnel asset. And my salespeople love those because it's just, they're really easy to share. They're a top of the funnel asset. And then I'll take that same interview and I'll write the traditional problem solution result case study and I'll throw that out on the product page. And now I have a piece that works mid to bottom of funnel as well. And so it's just all it's doing is just reframing the front end of the way that relationship, kind of the first, few conversations you have with that customer. And by doing that, it makes the whole experience for them and for you, it's just a lot more positive. Even the people who like didn't want to be featured. I just got one today. I just got one this morning. Like, I reached out to him. I said, hey, we'd love to feature you on the blog. Guy's name's Ryan. And I've talked to Ryan. Ryan's a great guy. He would love to do it personally, but he can't. Like, he just can't because like he's in a situation where at this moment in time, he can't say yes. And so it's usually that either they're shy or, you know what I mean? They're uncomfortable with the spotlight, but they always come back and they're apologetic about saying no, which is so different than what I got or what my colleague used to get when she would just go out cold and try and ask for case studies. They would just say no. And so I think it's just a different way of thinking about things. If you just think about it a little bit differently and try and think, how could I give this person a platform instead of how can I get something from this customer, then it changes that experience. And you might just find that you get what you wanted right on the back end anyway. And you have a more positive experience for both you and for the customer as well. So that's the whole thing. That's it. That's all there is to it. That's been wildly successful for me really for the last 15 years.
I love that. That's amazing. And that's such a tactical, strategic thing that I know those words have different meanings, but it's such an implementable thing. I also love like the way you approach the relationship with your customers. It has to add a lot of value. You said your sales reps love it when you have these hero stories, because a brand that features their customers and it's their story, right? It's the customer story and you happen to play a role in it. Those are the kinds of brands that people want to work with because they understand that the product is just to help them in their story, right? It's not about that other company's story. So I think you're kind of telling the narrative from multiple standpoints when you get the multiple, case studies. And I love that because I'm sure it has such a positive impact for the customers and potential customers to say, wow, they care a lot about their customers. It's their customer's story. It's not their story. So I love
Yeah.
that mentality and that shift as well.
Yeah. They really should be the hero of the story, right? Like you make a product to help them slay the dragon, whatever the dragon is, right? Like, I think this goes back to like Joseph Campbell, hero's journey kind of stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
you are not the hero of the story. You're not. Like, you're the mentor. You're the tool. Like, you're somebody who provides, some sort of enablement, something, whether it's a service or a product or whatever it is, for somebody else to be able to achieve something that they're after. And I think when you just think about it that way, it's a lot more fun to work that way. It really is. Yep. It's just
very true.
I like to work that way, and this is why this is my favorite project to do, is this kind of feature story, because I love to get into somebody's story, because it's always interesting to figure out that, like, oh, like there's this whole big story here and I'm a piece of it, but like it's their story, not mine.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for giving that insight. Again, I'm totally using that very, very soon. That's super powerful. Nathan, if people want to connect with you, join your community, talk to you about featuring you in one of their articles or something like that, how do they reach out? How do they connect with you best?
Sure. The easiest way to reach me is probably LinkedIn. Just search Nathan Collier and you'll find me there. If you want to join the Content Marketing Lounge community, the easiest way to do that is just open Facebook and search Content Marketing Lounge, and we'll pop up there in the results. If you even just search content marketing, you'll show us. We'll pop up right next to the HubSpot group.
Very cool.
You'll find us there at the top of the results. So, I invite you to join. It's free. It's a free community. It's just something I do to be able to network with other people doing the same kind of work that we do.
Love it. Well, thanks again for being on the show, and we'll make sure all those links are in the notes so anyone wanting to connect can do that. So appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you for listening to the Content Amplified podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. And for additional ways to get more out of your content, visit our website at getmasset.com. That's getmasset.com. And tune in next time to the Content Amplified podcast.